ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकाय चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। मुखं करोति वाचालां पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातदहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्य ईश्वरं। नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रस्थाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामी इति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। जय जय हरि नाम संकीर्तन की जय, हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र की जय, अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय, इस्कॉन फाउंडर आचार्य ही दिवांग श्री प्रभुपाद की जय, असेंबल भक्त वृंद की जय, निताई गौर प्रेमनंदी हरि हरि बोल। Hare Krishna, Dandavats to everybody. So we'll start our discussion today. And today we are in chapter 4. I think we are moving very good. So title of this chapter is Devotional Service Surpasses All Liberation. So this will be an interesting topic, I believe, and we'll try to get into it in a minute. But since this is our fourth chapter, I would like to give a quick recap that where we are and how many topics we have gone through so far. So the first one was introduction, and it has basically multiple elements such as Mangalacharan, and then the division of this Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, the ocean of bhakti, and then we also saw technical definition of Uttama Bhakti, and then we started the first chapter that is talking about characteristic of a pure devotional service, and then there are 6 characters that we've gone one after another. And second chapter, the first stages of devotion, and in that chapter we saw technical definition for sadhana bhakti, and then under sadhana bhakti we saw definition of Vaidhi bhakti and Raganuga bhakti, and then we also uh, talked about how Varnashram Dharma, Varnashram system is helping one to uh, elevate their consciousness and come to the stage of sadhana, devotion, or a bhakta who is aspiring to be sadhaka. And then very interesting topic, chapter 3, that's talking about eligibility of the candidates for accepting the devotional service. And we talked about stages of devotional service, 9 stages that's given in Bhakti Samrita Sindhu. And then we also talked about that Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he gives 14 stages. And we also saw that the cause of bhakti is bhakti itself, but that starts with Satam Kripa, by mercy of a devotee, and also by serving the devotee. And then slowly we are basically very much kind of navigating in the cycle of birth and death, repeated birth and death. And at some point it happens that by mercy of devotee, we, or the faith that we have acquired, both helps one to take in one it helps one to get into sadhana bhakti. And once we are uh, taking the bhakti as a sadhaka, then slowly we start elevating. And also in sadhana category in Badhi Bhakti, there are three prominent types of devotee, and that's basically to give us the idea that where we are in our devotion, Uttmadhikari, Madhmadhikari, and Karnishtadhikari, and we saw the distinction of those adhikaris based upon their shastric understanding. Uttmadhikari is expert in Shastra, and he can explain the any conflict that would arise in front of him. Madhmadhikari is expert in Shastra, but he is not competent in Shastra, so he cannot resolve any conflict that will come in front of him related to Shastric understanding. And then the Kanishta Adhikari, he has a Komal Shraddha. His faith is not matured yet. That means he does not have sufficient Shastric knowledge. At the same time, he cannot convince other. So the problem with Kanishta Adhikari is that while he's trying to preach, sometimes if he will end up coming in contact uh, with a Mayavadi or a Brahmanwadi, a person who is very expert and very ornamental in their presentation, that person might get, or a Kanishta Adhikari might get, deluded, and he might decide to leave the bhakti and then follow the path of Mayavadi teaching. So Kanishta Adhikari has to be very, very careful. They say that jack of all the trades and master of none. So that's not good. We have to try to be master of something. And then you also talked about there are four types of devotee who accept bhakti. Then today we are going to talk about devotional service surpasses all types of liberation. And we had hint of this particular statement before also, but this is a chapter very much dedicated to talk about pure devotee does not care for any types of liberation. So in this chapter, we'll talk about desire for bhukti, mukti, and bhakti. And then this chapter, in fact, has so many reference given from Srimad Bhagavatam, one after another, one after another. Srila Prabhupada is trying to establish that not only once, not only once, but multiple times, pure devotees are saying that I do not need any type of liberation. Pure bhakti is on top of everything. And consistently, Prabhupada is giving the reference from Srimad Bhagavatam, Kapil Dev, Pithu Moraz, Lord Shiva, Udhav, all of the references we'll see. So there are multiple in the Nectar of Devotion, but we will just take few of those. And if you'd like to, basically learn some more, for sure you should read. And then five types of liberation, and we have seen it. And then among the pure devotees, it should be pure devotees. So all the devotees who are aspiring for pure devotion, the one who is aspiring for Brindavan mood is the topmost. So we'll get into some more discussion what exactly it means by having a mood of Brindavan. So let's get into this chapter. So this chapter starts with a beautiful verse that's very famous, very, very famous verse coming from Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1 to 22. It says, Bhukti Mukti Aspriha Yavat Pishachi Hirdi Vartate Tavad Bhakti Sukhashyatra Katham Abhiyudayo Bhavet. Very nice verse. Bhukti Mukti Aspriha Yavat Pishachi Hirdi Vartate. As long as this Pishachi, this witch of bhukti and mukti aspriha. So one is aspriha, means having a desire, having pursuance. One is pursuing bhukti or mukti as a goal. Yavat pisachi hirdi vartate. Yavat, as long as that pisachi, that witch, hirdi vartate. Vartate means is present tense, is inside the heart of a person. Tavad, in that condition, bhakti sukhasyatra, in that condition, how one can have the experience of the sukha, katham abhiyudayo bhavet, how one in their heart will have the awakening of the happiness that comes out of bhakti. So, bhukti and mukti is basically uh, called here as pishach, as ghost or witch. So, this is a very famous verse, and there is a pastime that while Srila Rupa Goswami was compiling Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, at that time Balabhacharya from Pushti Marg visited him, and Srila Rupa Goswami requested Balabhacharya to edit his writing. So as soon as Balabhacharya saw this verse saying that Bhukti Mukti Aspriha Yavat Pishachi Hirdi Vartate, this Mukti is Pishach, and Balabhacharya was kind of not sure. He wanted to basically, he was surprised at how Mukti can be a Pishach. Mukti, everybody, is trying to aspire for Mukti. So how Mukti can be Pishach? So Srila Rupa Goswami, he was out to bath in Mother Yamuna, and it happens that Jiva Goswami, our Jiva Goswami, the prominent, powerful Acharya, he was next to Ballavacharya, and then understanding that Ballavacharya is a little bit confused seeing the Pishachi word being used for Mukti, he started talking with Jiva Goswami how this Mukti is Pishach. Then Jiva Goswami explained that it says Mukti Aspriha, having a desire for Mukti. And this desire for Mukti or desire for Bhukti. So Bhukti is, very common. I think most of you would understand. Bhukti is basically, uh, our uh, engagement in the material world prominently with the goal of sense enjoyment. So in bhukti, karma or our action is very prominent, and the goal of our activity is that if I don't work hard, then how I'm going to be happy? I have to work very hard because I'm the one who has to feed myself and all of my dependent. And then there is no rules and regulations. Rather, one is just trying to step up in the ladder and have, whatever possible to achieve in order to acquire their happiness. So in bhukti, self interest is extremely prominent. But in mukti, uh, although although the person who is aspiring for mukti, they might be engaged in higher activity. He or she might be following some rules and regulations which is not present in bhukti. In mukti, one might be obeying certain teachings, certain guidance, certain philosophy, but the end goal of that is that I am in a suffering condition and I want to get out of I want to get out of this suffering condition. So making an endeavor is still for oneself. So that's the point. Mukti is not a hituki, and mukti is not, a pratiharta. It's not basically unconditional, and it's not for the complete happiness or for 100% happiness of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but rather still there is some desire for a follower to get to the Vaikuntha abode and enjoy the opulences. So from that perspective, Jiva Goswami said that mukti is still pishacha. And also, he explained that out of both bhukti and mukti, in fact, mukti is much much dangerous than bhukti. How? Because whoever is aspiring for mukti, that person is equally uh, devoted, or equally degree of craziness, you can say in a very loose way, uh, or being seen with the people who are aspiring for mukti still for some personal goal. So that's not what devotee want. Devotee is always acting for the pleasure of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So as long as there is desire for one's own pleasure, that type of endeavor is highly criticized. Recently, I was meditating, that this is very hard to basically talk in a common classical Hindu society, saying that Vaikuntha is not the goal. So that's, in one sense, it's a very, very powerful statement. And in order for us to digest that statement, we have to also understand the mood. What we are right now hearing is hearing the writing of Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, Raghunath Das Goswamis, and who are they? They are Manjaris, They are basically close associates. They are the Gopas and Gopis from the pastime of Lord Sri Krishna. So what they are presenting the mood that is present in Goloka. Okay, so there are different acharyas, and all these acharyas, when they come to this material world, they basically descend from Vaikuntha, or they descend from other spiritual world, and then they come in that mood. Okay, so you have to note it very carefully that what we are reading is basically coming from one of the very, 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 very close associates of the Lord, Rupa Goswami, Rupa Manjari. So he is definitely is talking about the bhav or the melo that is present in Golok Vrindavan, where Ramanuja or other acharya who are coming from Vaikuntha. So they are presenting the mood of Ishwarya, where Rupa Goswami is presenting the Madhurya Bhav. Okay, so Rupa Raghunath Das Goswami in his Mana Siksha has given a very technical definition, and maybe we'll see that verse. But the point that I'm trying to make here is that overall, uh, aspiring for Golok Vrindavan is always higher. But if you are associating with acharyas who have descended from Vaikuntha, then they will emphasize more on the quality of a Vishnu. Right now, we are reading the writing that's coming from the acharya who has descended from Golok Vrindavan. Okay, so I would request all of you to keep that in your mind, to deal with some of the contradiction that's coming in your way while we are reading this. So Rupa Goswami now saying here that na nirvinno nati shakto. There is not much of the hindrance and there is not much of a shakti. One can uh, take the pure bhakti only in a situation when one is not too attached, not too disturbed about the things of the material world. So both bhukti and mukti is considered here as a demon, because in both the interest is our own benefit. We are basically aspiring for our own benefit. Even though the devotee becomes liberated from the samsara, liberation is not at all their goal. So by bhakti, or once we try to be pure devotee, it's not like that we are missing anything or we are not going to be liberated. We'll see that, that will come in more detail. That by bhakti, ek sadhe, sarva sadhe, by devotional service, all other goals that can be achieved by individual endeavor, just by acting in bhakti, all of that is obtained. Is in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is saying that whatever one can get from a small a lake, or from a small river, the big river has all of that. It gives all the benefit that you have by what you can get from a small river. So we'll talk about that a little bit more in detail. So the meaning of the verse is that desire for enjoyment and liberation are not proper for sadhaka and are not at all present in the perfected devotee. So whenever we are talking about pure devotion, we are talking about this mode where there is no desire for personal enjoyment. Rather, one is serving uh, to make Krishna happier, or serving for the pleasure of Krishna. And that is a technical definition of Yukt Vairagya also. So we'll see that, or maybe later, in this in Bhakti Samrita Sindhu, we have a discussion about Yukt Vairagya. So Yukt Vairagya, once we come to that stage, then we'll try to understand that how it's possible that one is acting without having any desire for the enjoyment or for any liberation. So here is another, beautiful verse that all of you might have heard. It says that akahama sarva kamo va moksha kama udharadhi tivrena bhakti yogena yajet purusham param. So akama sarva kamo va, the person desiring destruction of all desires, akama, the person with all desires, sarva kama, and even the person with an intense desire for liberation, moksha kama, if he has good intelligence, Udardehi, will worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead with pure devotion, very intense bhakti. Tivarena bhakti yogena. So this is the beautiful verse that you can cite that says that whatever you have, even if one has a desire for um, bhukti, right? That's what it means. Sarvakamo means the desire is for bhukti, or even if there is desire for uh, moksha, moksha kama, even there is desire for moksha. One who is intelligent, udardehi, they should engage in devotional service of the Param Purush, Ishvara Parama Purushna. So who is Param Purush? Ishvara Param Krishna. Param Ishwar is Krishna. So in the devotional service of the Param Purush, and how one should engage in the devotional service of the Param Purush, Tivarena, very, very intense. I don't know exactly how we can understand that. We are trying our best, but here it says that whatever desire one has, all of the desire will be fulfilled if one is trying to engage in pure devotional service of the Param Purusha. So that's the point basically we were trying to see here. That doesn't matter whatever desire we have, by engaging in devotional service, all the other desires that we have will be fulfilled. And then we'll see some reference from Srimad Bhagavatam. So here, Udhav, very close associates of Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, he is talking to Lord. And what he's saying, Kona visate pad saroj bhajam sudurlabho artheshu chaturashva apiha chaturashva apiha tathapi naham parvaronami bhuman bhuman bhavat padma bhoja nisevano tuksaha. So, Kona Vishwa means how come that person, Pad Saroj Bhajam, who is engaged in worshipping the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, how come for that person, Sudurlabho Artheshu Chaturashwapiha, how come for that person this Artha, Dharma, Kama, and Moksha is difficult to achieve for one who is worshipping the lotus feet of the Lord. O Lord, Bhuman, I therefore do not accept these things since I am enthusiastically engaged in service your lotus feet. So this is nobody else but Uddhav. Uddhav is saying to Lord Krishna that how come the result that comes out of artha, dharma, kama, and moksha is not going to be obtained by one who is worshipping your feet. So, oh my dear Lord, knowing that I'm going to be enthusiastically engaged in serving your lotus feet. This is powerful, right? It's very powerful. And who is saying that? Uddhav saying that. Kona visahte pad saroj bhajam. How it's difficult for one who is worshipping your lotus feet. Then here is Lord Kapila talking to Mother Devotee, and what he is saying, Salokya sar srishti samipya sarupya ektvam api uta diyamanam na grihnati binamat sevanam jana. We have seen this verse that all of these 5 types of liberation, Salokya, Sarsishti, Samipya, Sarupya, and Ektavam, merging into effulgence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Diyamanam nagrihanati, even if it's given, here you go, here you take. Even if it's given to a devotee, binamat sevanam janha, he does not accept. He does not accept. Rather, he he prefers to engage in pure devotional service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is very powerful verse. You know why I consider this a powerful verse? Because this says that Diyamanam na grahnati. Even it's given to him, he will not accept it. That type of here it's free. I give you the I give you the moksha. Salokya Sarsasti Samipya Sarupya. I give you, here you go. Go. You don't have to. No, a pure devotee, Diyamanam Nagirnati, even if it's given to him, he is not gonna accept. He's not gonna accept that. That's how Lord Kapil is preparing Mother Devavuti's mood. That my dear mother, do not worry. Just engage yourself in devotional service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Because a pure devotee, even if he is given these items with no cost, he's not going to accept it. So that type of determination is important. Why we have to hear this? That's the question. We have to hear this because these references that we are seeing is
prepping our mind, it gives us some, we are the people who need some examples, every time I ask people, can you give some example who has done it? Here you see, here is a perfect example. Lord Kapil, who is none different than Lord himself, right? Incarnation of the Lord, Satyavashish avatar. He is saying that a pure devotee, if he has given all of these five types of liberation, he's not gonna accept it. So that's the stage where Lord wants Devahuti to come, and that's the stage where Bhagavatam is saying that all of us has to come. No other uh, motivation, no other goals. Then here is another beautiful uh, verse. As I said, that this chapter has so many references. I'm not going through all of that, but we'll just see few of those. This is prayer of Pithu Moraz. When Lord appeared in front of him, then Pithu Maharaj is talking this to Lord himself. I don't know that if that type of thing will happen in our life, where we'll be talking to Lord directly, saying like that, Na kame natha tadapi ham kvachin nayatra yushmach charana bhuja savah mahatmantar hridayam mukaya chayito vidhatsava karnyavitam esa me varaha karnayutam vidhatsava karnayutam esa me varaha. I do not desire anything, especially I do not want liberation. Na kamaye natha tad apiham kvachit, in which there is no nectar of your lotus feet. Nayatra yusmat charanabhuja asavaha. There is no shwad asavaha. There is no taste. What taste? Taste of serving your lotus feet, coming from the hearts of great devotees. Mahat tam antar hirdayan. So what he wants, he's saying that coming from the hearts of great devotee and falling from their mouth, mukho achyuto, give me millions of years. That is my request. So Prithu Maharaj is saying that I do not desire anything. But what I want, my dear Lord, I want, please give me millions of years so that I can hear your pastime that's falling from the lotus mouth of your pure devotee. That is my request. Esa me varaha. Esa me varaha. That is my request. That give me. So here, that's Hindu Mataji. Another example about million of the years. Remember once we had talked about it. There are other, like Jamuna Charya and other Acharya, they're also talking about having millions of years. And we
Yes,
see
yes,
here
yes,
another example. The
yes,
Pithu Maharaj is also saying that my
yes.
dear Lord, give me millions of years. And what I want to do with those years, I want to mahatatam antara hirdayan, you know, the melodious honey like, tasty pastime that's falling from the mouth of your pure devotee. I want to hear that. I do not. This is talking to whom? Directly, Lord. My dear Lord, by praying these prayers, we are just reading it, but our mouth is also saying the same thing. So we are also saying the same thing. How much intensity we put in this prayer when we say that, my dear Lord, I do not desire anything, especially I do not want liberation, in which there is no nectar of your lotus feet, coming from the hearts of great devotees and falling from their mouth. Give me millions of years. That is my request. So by reading these prayers, we are also putting our prayers forward at the feet of Lord. That, my dear Lord, please, I know that I'm not qualified there. Kindly make me come to that stage where I can say things like that. For us, it's still very difficult to understand, but have the desire, have the desire that one day we'll be able to put prayers like that in front of Lord. And here is another beautiful reference coming from Bhagavatam again, 6th chapter. Lord Shiva talking to Parvati herself. And what he's saying, Narayana Parasarve Nakutashana Bibhyati Swarga Apvarga Narkeshwa Api Tulyartha Darshinaha. Beautiful, beautiful verse. Devotee who are solely engaged in the devotional service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narayan, never fear any condition of life. Na kutashana bibhyati. Bibhyati comes means fear. Narayana prah sarve. The one who is always engaged in serving the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Na kutashana bibhyati. We still have some bibhyati. So he's saying that na kutashana bibhyati. He does not have fear for what? Shwarga, Apvarga, Narkeshwa. Doesn't matter we go to Shwarga or we go to uh, Narka. Api Tulyartha Darshinaha. He is seeing that all of that is same as long as he gets the opportunity to engage in the devotional service. Devotees slowly engage in the devotional service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Narayan never fear any condition of life. For them, the heavenly planets, liberation, and hellish planets are all the same. For such devotees are interested only in the service of your lotus feet, only in the service of the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. For one who is engaged in that capacity, for that person, this Swarga, Apvarga, or Naraka does not make any difference. He can go anywhere, knowing that wherever I go, as long as I have opportunity to serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead, I would be.
Prabhuji, what is Apavarga?
Swarga means
Swarga is,
higher planet,
yeah,
and
Apavarga,
Apvarga is lower planet,
lower. Naraka is
and Naraka is lower of the lower planet. Tal,
lower.
Patal, Sutal, Mahatal, Rasatal, Talatal, like that. So uh, after Swarga, there are other planet system too, right? So as so the lower planetary system, Bhu, Bhuarloka, Maharloka, Swargloka, Taploka, like that. So he's saying that even I go on the Swarga or lower than Swarga, or all the way up to Naraka, it doesn't matter as long as I'm engaged in serving your lotus feet. Perfect example is His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada left Vrindavan at the age of 70 years. Why? At that time everybody will prepare to live in Vrindavan, reside in Vrindavan. But he said, no, my dear Lord, wherever I can serve you the best, I'll go there and engage myself in your service. Once I was talking with one of my very close friend, and he said that one reason now, one reason that we have to live in USA is that we preach. He said there is no other reason. He said one reason we are working because the money we get we have to use it to preach. One reason we are here because whatever is around us we use it to preach, 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 preach. You know, can we do much better job going back India? Maybe, but maybe not. USA needs people, We need more and more devotee here who can preach. Sometimes we think that, I may go back India. Yes, you can go back, but India is doing very good in preaching. If you are planning to go to South Africa, somewhere where you can preach more, there are so many places. Each and every town in USA, we can have a temple, you know. So prepare yourself in St. Louis and move out 20 miles from here, start a center. Something like that, all of us have to plan, think, you know, that will be perfection of our life. We don't have to, many time, I think few classes back, one of you mentioned, that it's very, I think Ramkusar Prabhu was saying that it's very hard even to breathe here because so much slaughterhouse, so much cow killing, so much meat eating. And if you are inhaling and exhaling in that surrounding, if you are not doing in the if you are not engaged in bhakti, by default, you are engaging in taking a lot of bad karmas, you know. So only way we can, make our life successful is that we make goal of our life to number one, be pure devotee. There are faults, but aspire for being a pure devotee and then preach, preach, whatever capacity we can, whoever we can, let's try to preach. So that's what we are learning from all of these verses. Why we have to go through these verses? Because this is Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. It will teach us and prep our mind to, very much be sure that the path on which we are acting on is the topmost path. So here is why all of these personalities are saying the way they are saying. Beautiful verse. Atma Ramasya Munyo Nirgrantha Purukrame Kurvanti Haituki Bhaktim Itam Bhut Guno Hari. Even one is Atma Ram, or one is a Muni, or one is a Nirgrantha, or one is a Urukrama. Everybody, Sukdev Goswami, is saying that everybody, this is Atma Ram verse. Okay, this is the verse that has multiple explanation given by Mahaprabhu, 61 explanation. Mahaprabhu, Atma Ramos, he gave 61 meaning. Munai was 61 meaning. So, why? Itam Bhut Guno Hari. Our Lord has that quality. Okay. So, all different varieties of Atma Ram, bracket, those who take pleasure in the Atma or spirit self, especially those established on the path of self realization, though free from all kinds of material bondage, desired to render unalloyed devotional service unto the personality of Godhead. This means that the Lord possesses transcendental quality and therefore can attract everyone, including liberated soul. Prabhupada has also cited the uh, example of four Kumaras. Four Kumaras were Gyani, and when they went uh, in Vaikuntha, they were stopped by Jay and Vijay. Where you are going? You don't seem to be the residents of Vaikuntha planet. He got offended. And then he smelled the tulsi leaf and the flavor, the fragrance coming out of the tulsi leaf from the feet of the Lord. And that fragrance changed his consciousness. And he started saying powerful prayers. So, itham bhoot guno hari. This is the quality of our Lord. Doesn't matter, one is Atmaram or one is Muni or one is Nirgrantha. Not attachment to the material world at all. Everybody is aspiring to serve the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Okay, so these are some beautiful reference given by His Divine Grace for us to prepare our mood. And then the last paragraph of this chapter, Prabhupada is talking about this 5 types of liberation, and we have seen this chart. And then the points that being made that out of these 5 liberated states, Sayujya, which is merging into the Brahman effulgence and becoming one with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, that is not accepted, or it's last uh, item, that's last liberation that's accepted by devotee. The other 4, although not desired, still are not against the devotional ideals. So one day I remember Sri Radhe Mataji was asking, and I said, the same answer, that except Sayujya Mukti, all of these 4 are in some way not that bad. But Sri Rupa Goswami says the same thing, that but here is the thing, I know it's not bad, Salokya Mukti, you can go to the Vaikuntha planet. Sarupya Mukti, you can get the bodily features, like Lord Vishnu. Samipya Mukti, you can become one of his close associates, like Gopa Gopis, or Lord, others close associates, or maybe, Sar Srishti, attain the opulence. But what's happening here is that this is because there may still be some desire for the happiness and opulence of the spiritual world. Okay, so now we have come on the cutting edge, right? Little bit, even if there is little bit tinge to enjoy, you know, that Sri Rupa Goswami is saying that that's not what devotee was. Prabhupada says that sometimes, this is a beautiful point to be noted, sometimes a devotee from Vaikuntha. So the Sayuja Mukti is basically Brahman, right? So we have a material world, and after that we have effulgence, Brahman, and then Vaikuntha. So Sayuja Mukti is basically merging into the Brahman. But Salokya, Sarupya, Samipya, and Sarsristi, that's in the Vaikuntha. It's also to be noted. Okay, so Prabhupada says here that sometimes a devotee who have come into this stage may have attachment for Krishna, and then from there he can go to Goloka. He can be promoted to Goloka. Like sometimes, maybe people say that I love Krishna, but I love Ram too. I'm attached to the form, of Lord Ramchandra. Or sometimes people say that, yeah, Ramchandra is pretty good, but I, like forearm form of Vishnu. Still, one is on a very higher platform, because from there one may get the opportunity to go Goloka. So out of all of these pure devotees who are not aspiring for any type of liberation, the one who aspire to cultivate, to develop the mood of Golok Brindavan, that is the topmost devotee. So Prabhupada is now basically trying to conclude this chapter. And in order to make this point very clear, I'm quoting here. It's not quoted anywhere, but I thought that this verse will be very important. This is the verse that that's coming from Sri Manosiksha by Raghunath Das Goswami. Raghunath Das Goswami is our Goswami of Priyojana. Sanatana Goswami Shambandha, Rupa Goswami Avidhya, and Sri Raghunath Das Goswami is Priyojana. How to come to the uh, goal, how to get to the goal. That is given by our dear Acharya Srila Raghunath Das Goswami. So this is beautiful verse that I would like to read, and then read the translation, because by seeing the verse itself will help us understand that why the one who is aspiring for Golok mood or Brindavan mood is the highest most. It says that asadvarta veshya visarjamati sarvasha harinihi katha mukti vyagrahana shrunu kila sarvatmagilanihi api tyaktva lakshmipati ratim ito vyoma nayanim braje radha krishnau swarati manidau tvam. So it says, asad varta vishya visarjamati sarvashva harinihi. O mind, abandon the pursuit of mundane talks. So mundane talk, asad varta vishya. The mundane talk is compared here with vishya. Asad varta vishya. Visarja, give it up. Mati sarvashva haranihi. Engage your mind in worshipping the Hari. Sadvarta Visaya Visarjaha. This mundane talk has to be given up. Katha Mukti Vyagrahana Srinu Kila Sarvatma Kilinaha. Sarvatma Gilanihi. So Katha Mukti Vyagraha. Hearing the pastime of Mukti, Katha Mukti. Okay, hearing the pastime of Mukti is like tigers who can devour. Okay, so Asadvarta is like Vishya, and hearing the pastime for Mukti is like associating with tigers who can devour us anytime. Api taktva Lakshmi Patiratim itu vyoma nayanam. Not only that, he says, not only that, but also give up the attachment to the husband of Lakshmi Pati, to the, sorry, I said both Hindi and English, to the husband of Lakshmi, Lakshmi Pati, Sri Narayan. Okay, so api taktva Lakshmi Pati ratim ito vyomanayanim. What does it mean? Because he he leads one to Vakunta, no doubt about it. Okay, but what happens when we do Krishna's bhakti? Braje Radha Krishna Swarati Manidau Tvam. So, oh, my mind, don't associate with this Asad Varta Veshya. Not this mundane talk is like prostitute, Mukti is like tigers, not even try to, you know, carry or try to chase this Lakshmi Pati. Rather, instead, engage your mind in worshipping that Braj Krishna, serve that Sri Radha Krishna. What he does, who give one the jewel of their own love. Okay, so the love for God or bhakti, right? And we have seen that when Lord was doing rasa dance, uh, Krishna basically disappeared, and then he turned himself into forearm for Vishnu, and all the gopis will come and ask, where is Krishna? Om Namo Narayana, very nice seeing you, Lord Narayan. Where is Krishna? This way. Go this way. Krishna is this way. Another gopi comes. Om Namo Narayana, very nice seeing you, Lord Vishnu. Where is Krishna? Go this way. So likewise, all the gopis, came, and then last Srimati Radharani came and says, Om Namo Narayana, very nice seeing you. Where is Krishna? So seeing Srimati Radharani, Lord's arm melted, and he became two-arm form Krishna. So that mellow, that love, that reciprocation of love and devotion, we started talking about that, and we'll keep on talking that why Krishna does not give his pure bhakti, because he becomes devotee of his devotees. That's what he's saying. Who give one the jewel of their own love. Okay, if there is no basically awe and reverence. Okay, in Vaikuntha, still uh, Narayan, four-armed form Narayan is master, and everybody else is servant. The the mood there is Aishwarya Bhav. But Gopa and Gopis, they do not even care who the Krishna is. They are not too much concerned about his supreme personality of Godhead or he's not a Godhead. All they care is that this person is so charming. We are fallen in love with this person, you know. And all they do is that what we can do to make this person happy. Completely, different mood. Okay. So this type of a statement can be only shared in a very confidential group of devotee. Okay, if we go and we are doing first class or first or two class and doing the preaching, I can't show this verse. I can't say that Asadvarta is Besya, Mukti is tiger. They'll say, what are you talking about? And even don't worry for this Lakshmipati Narayan, rather worship the supreme personality of Godhead, Bhagavan Sri Krishna. They will say that next time my door is closed for you, please do not come to see us. We are done with you. Because one has to have some uh, years of experience engaging in sadhana bhakti, and somehow or other, the heart should have that tinge of devotion, not too much, some tinge of devotion to at least understand the melo that is flowing here. The melo that is basically uh, coming to coming to us. So that's what is basically the essence of this chapter, that one unnecessarily should not try to spend their time on
Prabhuji,
any. Yes.
I was just thinking about, we don't know, at least I don't know what is to pray just to Narayana. But Prabhupada just poured out because he's experienced, right? And he experienced the power of bhakti. So he poured out all that in every single, purport. And then I feel like all of us who read his purports over and over again, we never feel like, oh, I don't want Narayana, I want to just have Krishna. We never experienced what Narayana Bhakti is, but still feel like, no, we even today we were talking about who wants to go to Vaikunta, we want to go to Goloka. So we all are so convinced just by reading Prabhupada's purports that that is the way to go.
That's why the path here you can see on the uh, you know uh,
Through Guru.
picture that we are showing, Guru Shastra and Sadhu.
Exactly.
Associating with bona fide sadhu and
It's
reading the
beautiful
bona
thing.
fide literature and taking shelter of a bona fide guru. All of these three elements will come together, then that will awaken the pure devotion. And that three paths, Guru Shastra Sadhu Vakya, Tineta Kariya Yakya. When all of these three becomes one, which means we have aligned our life based on the teaching of Shastra and instructions of Guru and learning that has come from Sadhu, then it will lead to pure devotional path that will ultimately lead to the feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So this is a multi-step process, slowly and slowly that will start awakening. Slowly and slowly. It's Chetudapna Marjanam Mahadavagni Dvapanam. So it has to happen. Sriha Kairava Chandrika Vidharnam Vidyavadhu Jivanam. The Sriya Kairava, that moon like shooting lotus has to awaken, right? That's Vidyavadhu Jivanam. That shooting moon like lotus of bhakti has to awaken in the heart. How that happened? Chetodapna Marjanam, by constantly making a strong, honest endeavor, sincerely trying to be, you know, pure devotee, aspiring to be pure devotee, putting our, best without any ulterior motivation, no other desire, you know, but rather just let me serve with full enthusiasm. Uh, our faith, how to know one's faith, you know, what to know one's faith, you have to see that how one is engaged in a particular activity. That's the that's the way to. There are multiple ways to see faith, but one way to see faith is that all of us are so excited to be part of this Bhakti Sastry. Oh, we'll just get there because there'll be some Hari Katha, some sort of, that's what it says here, some sort of taste. It is worth spending some time together. All we are going to talk is going to talk the higher philosophy. We are going to talk how we can make our life better to be more Krishna conscious, how we can help ourselves to push a little bit upward so that I can test a little bit more of a bhakti. So that kind of desire, I just want a little bit test more of the bhakti, a little bit more how that it tastes like, being innocent and being someone, who is completely like a, newborn baby, completely innocent. I just want a little bit, taste that bhakti. Okay, let me have that association. So that type of, strive, that type of, endeavor, when we do consistently, Krishna says that this person has been trying hard, then one day he will give the nectar, the taste of his bhakti. And then from there, it will be very easy. So in Kanistha stage, it's very difficult to hold everything together. It's very challenging state. But Madhma state is the stage where we are, very kind of, uh, very much in the middle stage, where we still have little bit taste maybe from the material thing, but not, fully kind of fixed in a in releasing the nectar that's coming out of the bhakti, pure devotional service. But Utmadhikari, done. I'm in a stage where all the time I'm releasing the nectar that's coming out of, bhakti. By taking shelter of holy name, Hari Nam, the Rupa, Gun and Lila of Lord has to reveal. Holy name in Madhurya Kadamini, Bhakti Vinod Thakur is saying that holy name can give everything. So how to take shelter of the holy name so that the Rup, Gun and Lila, about when I say Krishna, his form, his pastime, all of that has to be coming. But are that coming right now? No. But will that come? Yes. The more we surrender, the more honestly we try to take the process, slowly and slowly at the course of time, that thing will come. So yes, what you said, Mother, is correct. That now we are striving something very much. At some point, we were not even ready to cross this material world, right? Now we are talking about cross this material world. Don't engage in asadvarta, okay? Any type of mukti, all these 5 type of mukti that that contains or that includes uh, Brahman, right? And then we're talking about that Vaikuntha also. So all of things that we are seeing here is right here. We are crossing all of that material world, crossing all types of mukti, even Vaikuntha, and we are aspiring to take the shelter of the lotus feet of Lord Sri Krishna. So this slide itself is kind of setting us up for so high goal. So yes, that's the mercy of acharyas, Sri Rupa Sanatana Bhatta Raghunath, Sri Jiva Gopal Bhatt Das Raghunath. You know, they were nipun in Sarva Shastra, uh, very expert. And what they did, they gave us the essence, bhakti. This bhakti cannot be talked so intensely and so vividly in other sampradaya. This Gauriya Madhav, this Brahm Madhav Gauriya Sampradaya has this Vrindavan Bhav, pure bhakti. So we all are extremely fortunate that we are talking about some of these extremely sublime powerful subject, which is pure devotional service. So with that, I would like to give a pause and hear some feedback, any questions, any doubt. Hope so far we have been kind of receiving everything that has been shared here, and in future we'll continue doing the same. So let's see if there is any realization, anything anybody would like to share.